Hello, teachers. Welcome to class. I'm excited to share with you third term lesson plan for grade 7 students, that is SS1 students. And the topic is effective prayer. The biblical passages are already on your screen. Every lesson plan should contain the 3 domains: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. And when it comes to this topic, by the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to explain the nature of prayer as a means of communicating with God. And equally, they should be convinced. They should be convinced that on the effect of praying. They should be convinced on the effect of praying. And equally, they should be able to write down the right attitude to prayer. And then your lesson plan should have the entry behavior. Students know that praying is a good Christian virtue. And then you ask them this question: do you pray? It's just for a minute. This question is for 1 minute and they will quickly answer you. And these are your instructional materials: picture of a flashcard with letters ACTS, ACTS, which stands for adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication. This is equally it. You could get one that you have already carved out yourself from your cardboard. You could use this. You could also type on your Google, and then you get varieties of teaching aids on Acts or any other one you want to use. Okay, and then this is the body of the lesson plan. As I said it before, that 1 minute you use to ask them if they pray, and then from the answer they give to you, you equally add as a kind of set induction for 4 minutes. Ask them to sing this song, that prayer is the key, prayer is the master key. Jesus started with prayer and ended with prayer. Okay, and then you read the biblical passage. You read the biblical passage, the New Testament biblical passage, and then explain the nature of prayer as a means of communicating with God. It is enormous. It is all involving. The 2 biblical passages are all talking about this communication with God. And then you do that for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We have only 40 minutes to teaching and learning. And so in the 12th minute, you use it to teach. You must have read the book of James and then use that biblical passage to teach on prayer. You will stress on the keynotes James used to emphasize the effectiveness of prayer, And then alongside with this, you connect their minds to the acts of prayer. That's under, yes, the acts of prayer. As in, prayer can come in form of adoration, prayer can come in form of confession, prayer can come in form of thanksgiving and supplication. And then if prayer is coming in this form, James is saying for this type of prayers to be effective, there are certain things Christians must what? Practice. Okay, and then lastly is your summary. You are now speaking in conclusion, and there you use 5 minutes to just speak on the major points. You repeat again the major points, and then ask your students any question. Even before you end your class, in between your statements, you ask them questions. Even when it comes to the reading, they read along. But if you realize that there are students who can't read, you now change your methodology. You begin to ask them to read verse by verse, from the first seat to the second seat on the row, like that, till they get to the last person for that period. I hope you do enjoy and understand this lesson plan. Thank you and God bless. See you next time in the next topic. Bye.